So today we are going to do a video on AI and astrology. So yesterday we did a video on how to use, which is this video actually, where I presented how to use this wheel chart. So just so you know, in case you didn't know, you can use this chart to calculate this software to calculate any chart you want. And today we are going to use AI. So instead of just typing here, you will be able to use ChatGPT or Claude or Manus AI. Gemini doesn't work. So I have the documentation here, so you can even paste this in ChatGPT and it will help you also, but it's so easy. You don't actually need to do that. I also have a short video here that I did that explains shortly what you need to do, but this video is going to be a bit longer, and I am actually talking about at the same time, so it's a bit better than just an AI generated video. So you can read all that, and I'm going to start right away. So basically there is a thing called MCP server. Basically it's just like an add-on, like a Chrome add-on. You add it on Claude, and then he's able to use the equivalent of this software, but he's like talking directly to my server, and so he actually used the same description that I have here, the 12 description of each sign, and he also have the chart calculated, and so he have the position, all those position given to him. So which means when you actually ask him to calculate a chart, he doesn't guess, he doesn't try to recreate all that, because basically many people on Facebook, YouTube and whatever say AI can't really calculate the chart, and it's true. It cannot really do it because it needs to actually do all of this, which I already did it. So here he is using a third-party tools to have accurate information, and when he has this accurate information, you can actually do the same by just pasting that. You calculate your chart and you paste all that, and you would have almost the same information. But here we are doing it server side, so it's already done. So you basically go here, and in ChatGPT, here we are using Claude because Claude is actually better than ChatGPT. And you click here, you go to setting and then to connectors, and I'm going to do it again here. So I'm going to remove my calculation here, and if you follow the tutorials, you go here. So this is the address you need to copy. You need to copy, and that's the name actually. The name here, you put whatever name, but I'm going to use the name that was used in the example. So I think that was the name I used in the example. So you click add, and this is the most straightforward. Claude works the best here. It doesn't say it's a developer tools. It doesn't annoy you with something like it's a security threat or something stupid like that. So and you even have the icon. I don't think I have seen anyone actually picking up the icon too. ChatGPT cannot do it. So another proof that ChatGPT is just so far behind in terms of AI. So here that was the name. You can read all that if you want, and then that's it. Basically 30 seconds, not even more. And then you go to the new chat here, and most of the time you won't have access to Opus unless you pay a lot of money. I pay actually 100 euros per month, but if you have the $20, Sonnet should be available and quite good. You can, I think you would be able to use Haiku too. It won't be as good though, but I think maybe even Haiku would be maybe better than ChatGPT. I would have to test that because ChatGPT is just... Sonnet is actually better than ChatGPT. I was testing both, and Sonnet is better than ChatGPT. What version they are using? The 5.4, I think. So, but let's skip details here. And so when you arrive here, you would need a prompt. So I have many prompts here, like the most basic one. This is birth chart overview. So basically you tell him use the MCP tool, which is called by the name you called it. Here we are using 360 Arts. So use 360 Arts MCP. You don't need to tell him it's an MCP, but in case. And to calculate my chart, so you give your birth chart data, so June 17 and whatever, where you are born. And you tell him here, it's you are telling him to use both tables because this tool can calculate tropical and Aditya zodiac, which are both tropical framework. And then you tell him what to do with that. Then give me a short reading in the Aditya frame, or if you want the Western frame, you tell him Western frame. So you copy that, you go to Claude here, and you paste here. Hopefully it works. And then you press play. So you can see, if it works, you will see the logo of my cat here. It's a cat that is supposed to showcase actually the Aries sign. So here he is calling the server. You can look the description here. It's checking the Aditya description, loading the tools, getting the Aditya description, and then it's telling you he has everything. So you should be able to see the Aditya framework here. So this person is born in June, so June it's Gemini, and you see here Gemini. And in the Aditya it's Varuna, which is the equivalent of Cancer. Here it's Gemini. So you have both this framework. Here in the example it's giving you both, but I would recommend you use only the Aditya Circle, and if you prefer to use tropical, just use tropical. But I would recommend, I think this one is more accurate. So here it's giving you the short description, and here it's short, but you control how much you want the output to be. So if you want to be testing something, you can say, for example, here you could say what position, like for example Mars, I know in data is quite powerful, so you could copy and paste here and tell him what Mars in data, describe me this position in a deeper manner, or whatever you want. So, and you don't need to be precise on the vocabulary. You can do mistake. I do a lot of mistake in my writing. You usually correct it automatically. And so Mars in data, the volcano that erupts to build. So he's giving you a better description here. So it can do mistakes. The interpretation is not fixed. That's AI dependent, but he's actually using what I have on my website. So that's a complete description here. He's even noticing that RAW is conjunct data. I didn't even notice that. So that would be Aries in a chart. If we would use a chart, we would see in the chart, let's do that just so you have an example. You would see this, you would see RAW and data and Mars here. So this is a simple thing to do, and I'm going to showcase in ChatGPT now. So in ChatGPT, you go to your profile, you go to settings, you go to apps, and here it's a bit more complicated. And so how do I do that again? Let's disconnect it. So you delete it. Let's see, because that's what so when you arrive here, you would see this, and it said advanced setting. I don't like to call this an advanced setting because it's a very basic tool. And so you go here, create an app, and here you just give the name, just like ChatGPT. You type the name or you paste it. Usually I like to paste it, but I'm going to type it. And then you go to the address here, you copy again, and you paste it here. Here you use no off because it's not a paying thing, it's free. Description, you can give it a description, but it doesn't need it. Here it should retrieve the icon automatically, but it doesn't, so that's the limitation of ChatGPT. So here you did it it's telling you it's a dev thing. So usually here it's not asking for activation of the dev mode, but if it's the first time, it will ask you to activate the developer mode. And in the developer mode, you would see this orange frame instead. So let's do another type of reading here. Let's copy and paste something else. So psychological portrait, let's do that, see what it does. And so you give him that, find my dominant and full descriptions, and give me psychological portrait, etc, etc. So you click paste. You click confirm, or whatever it is actually. So he's loading the tools here. You have to grant him access to the tools at times. Security measure. And I don't like that they call this developer mode, because that should be just some add-on apps. It's like any apps right now is considered a developer apps. It's so stupid. ChatGPT is so restrictive right now. I don't like them at all. But it still works. So if you have already paid ChatGPT, you don't need to subscribe to Claude. It's actually a bit cheaper too, but I prefer to use Claude. It's much better. So what he's telling you here, in the Aditya frame, Varuna is the all-encompassing sky, so giving you a full Varuna description, which was the sun sign of that person. Core drive, essential true benefits presented Varuna, so he's still describing Varuna. Depth perception is giving you the basic description of Varuna. And I think that's quite weak for a description, because here it's just using, so it is not giving you more than what you ask here. I think it could be better than that. Let's see the same prompt on Claude, if that would give you something better. But if I'm actually with Sonnet, just to see if Sonnet is actually better. So let's now, while he's working on this, go to Manus AI. So Manus AI is owned now by Meta. They got bought off, but it was a Chinese app at first, and very good app. So here I was using it in this way, and it gave me this interpretation here. And I think it's quite good actually. And so, contrary to other apps like Gemini, for example, which is one of the worst currently, he actually work on what you ask him to do, like fully, doesn't lay off. Or so you go here and you go to connectors, and you add no connectors, you go to custom, add MCP server, import JSON, and you will see on my my documentation, you see Manus AI, it gives you this, so you copy and paste this here, and you put it there, and you import, and it will work, and you will have this thing here. So I'm not going to repeat here this process, because you have the example here, but it's basically, and I don't think many people know Manus AI, but I think it's quite good actually. So let's see if Claude is actually giving a better one. Then I'm going to present, so this is for personality. You can ask for the Western reading also if you want. And then you have a deep analysis. So whatever you ask him, he does it. So there is more, I could have put out more examples than this. This is just basic example, but hopefully once you get used to those examples, you will have new idea to test. And I may update this at some point and add more prompts, so you would have something more to test. So another tool, so the MCP have what you call tools. It doesn't just have one tool, and one of the tools is to get the transits of the moon. So you could also use the main tool to get the transit, but it would be harder to do. Yeah, it's already programmed, so you copy and paste this, and it would give you the transits of right now for a given location. So why this is useful? Often I notice when the moon is changing Aditya sign, you can see this happening in your real life. So for example, today if I look up right now, so using this tool, and I calculate the Aditya chart, I can see the moon is in Varuna. And Varuna is the god of meditation. So during this past few days, when Moon was in Varuna, I noticed I was more interested, and I even started to watch a new video on meditation. And that doesn't happen often recently because I'm working a lot and I don't have times to meditate as much as usual. But when the moon started to go in Varuna, I started to do those things much more easily, and I was more interested to do that kind of thing. For someone who doesn't meditate, this would be maybe lazy around on the bed, or being at the sea or something, in a more emotional environment where you don't do much and you just rest there and you don't really want to work, or if you work in a more peaceful manner. You're not in a hurry or something like that. So let's see what if the tools is actually better in it's actually not better here. So it depends on the prompt. Sometimes ChatGPT is as good as I say as good, but it's probably written better. Usually the output of Claude is often much better than ChatGPT, and he often understands much better. And here I was only testing the Sonnet version. This is not the full Opus version. You don't need Opus to beat ChatGPT. This gives you how much gaps there is between these two AI. And I'm not even comparing here to Gemini. Gemini is even worse. So let's, I think that's about it. I wanted to test actually the moon transit. So let's paste a moon transit, see something like this simple one, and let's use Manus AI, see what he's able to do. So use the MCP, I'm not sure I actually use this name here. See here, it is actually the same name. To show me where the moon transit this week. I'm in Paris, give me the free Aditya previous year, so he should be able to do it. And you can actually see the tool, what it's happening behind the scene a bit better here. It's actually giving you all the tool call, what's happening behind the scene. So you don't usually see this kind of output with normal AI. They are very open to what's happening behind the scene. Hopefully this doesn't change with Meta, because they bought off Manus recently, and wouldn't be surprised to see Manus being more closed after Meta by right now. It didn't seem any change, but probably maybe in 2 months or so they will add another update, because I think this update of 1.6 was already there when they got bought off. So here is the moon, 3 Aditya transits. So the location so it didn't actually work at all here. So sometimes it doesn't work. It actually worked, but it didn't give any description. But at least I can actually show you what you can do when it doesn't actually respect the prompt. Oh. He's quite slow. Actually, that's one of people tend to criticize the fact that he's slow, but I think that's also due because he's actually thinking compared to other AI who just give you fast answer and they don't even think about it. They just give you something and that's it. But at times he is thinking and the end result is not so great. So it's not a super great AI, but he's using under the hood. He's using other AI like Gemini, and for example for image creation, it's quite good. He actually gives you some nice pictures, and you can see he's not hiding it either. He's telling you exactly what he's using. And he's using Gemini to create image. So I was criticizing Gemini earlier, but for image creation, they are actually quite good. So 3 years later, so slow. He's actually using the browser. What the fuck he's doing? And the official documentation. Yeah, he's actually reading my website. That's why he's taking so much time. So, but he doesn't realize what's on my website is exactly the tool I gave him. So, but maybe he will actually read something more. So you see here a real AI. When they think, they actually search other things. They just don't sit there. Like right now, the new Gemini, it's so bad. He doesn't even verify. It's like the new Gemini is almost like a Google search almost. Maybe not, but it doesn't. At first, when Gemini came out, when you ask him something, he was actually checking out on the web if that information is true. Right now, he's just giving you the information, and if it's false, he doesn't care. And worse, even if it's false, he doesn't rectify. Even if you tell him to rectify an information and you tell him this is wrong, he doesn't even want to verify and change his information. So here he actually did something. Current transits. Next, Indra. So yeah, I don't think he got any more information from the website, because that's basically what you should get. And so this is the first time him doing that, and each time he do something, you can actually tell him to save and to do that more often. And I don't know if you can do that in Manus AI, but in Claude you will be able to do it. He's actually learning from your mistake, from his mistake. So you can actually create a folder, for example, you create a project, and in that project you would create, for example, astrology reading, and that's what I was doing to console my customer. I was actually using AI to help me correct, not the, to give me ideas and to correct my bad writing. I do a lot of mistake when I write. So I think that's it. I may do another video. So those tools are actually quite simple. This is a free version. I didn't do much here. I'm just giving him some basic tools, and even if it's basic, it can actually do a lot of things already. So don't underestimate the fact that it's a simple tool, because with a simple tool you can do many things, especially with such AI. So, and just like Manus did, you can actually retrieve information on my website. So here he was just doing it blindly, but you can, for example, and that's what I will do in the paid version. You can actually tell him to read this article, for example, and tell him to interpret according to these articles. But that's a more advanced take, and he may output some things that is completely wrong. So that's why that's for advanced people who want to test. You can actually tell him, do that, do this, and you would at the end arrive at something better. But on the software that I will release soon enough, in 2 weeks, I will provide all those tools and many more that I have been using on my software for the past 3 months. And this, what I give here for free, is just like 5% of what, maybe just 3%, maybe 3% of what my software is able to do. And so that's how I created, for example, this research on data, which is a very long research. I use AI for this to find all those things and to compute and to put it in a website. So yeah. And you can read that AI generated and verified. So some people say AI is bad because it's generating junk, and indeed it's generating a lot of junk. But if you work on it, if you remove the junk, if you correct him, and it's a lot of work, then you can arrive at something very good. You just need to work at it. It's not meant to be one shot kill and everything is done. You need to correct it, and you need to, so yeah, unless the tool is already performing well and someone already did the work, like what I did here with these short tools. I verified that it's actually working, but it's not perfect either. So that's it for this video. 33 minutes. I think most people are probably asleep now, or they switch off because I talk too much. Not really that I talk too much, but I explain a lot of things that can be complicated, can be quite like AI things tend to scare people. A lot of driven calculation software and whatever I do usually. So you can also see here subscription. If you want to subscribe, I will add more options to people who subscribe to the AI tools. Right now I didn't integrate the AI tool in this description, but people who subscribe will have more access to the AI tools. They will have more tools, and those who pay will have access to more tools. And like you will see here, if you go to settings and you go to connectors and you click configure, you will see all the tools that you have in the free version, and the paid version will get more information. and this right now it's not programmed yet, but it will be programmed at some point. And so yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.